Hey Matt. Uh gonna be last episode with the two of us for a while. I'm
Three
going on
weeks. Three
3 weeks.
weeks.
I'm going on a trip, then you're going on a trip, so you're gonna have to hold down the show. Maybe find some guests to bring on the coming weeks. I'm sure Logan wouldn't mind talking some ball again. Maybe ask him. We'll see. But yeah, gonna be about a month till we're gonna record an episode together. So let's make it a good one. End it on a good note for now. No NFL news because everything's pretty much situated as of now. We're just waiting on training camp and stuff like that to start. So let's go straight to basketball. Okay, so where should we start? Let's start with today's game, or Lakers played today. So let's get to that series first. There's a game today, game four, but we hadn't touched on games two or three since the last podcast. So let's go straight. We'll go in order, starting with game two. So game two, I believe Kevon Looney was feeling a little bit under the weather, or he was ill, something like that. So Draymond Green went back to the starting lineup, and you know that adjustment, along with some of the other stuff, I think the Warriors did defensively. They kind of played that zone defense in that game two, and it worked, I guess. But let's see, Matt. Let's go back to the question. Was it the Warriors defense or was it a lack of aggressiveness from Anthony Davis? Right? Because he had 11 points, I believe, that game. And
11 points.
what
Seven
was
rebounds, too.
7 rebounds? I mean, you can't be having that if Kevon Looney, especially, is not going to play, right? He needs to be a beast at all times. Like that was my key point, right? Throughout the whole series. I need him to show up every single game. We can't be having games where either he's not in it or he's not aggressive or, he's not controlling the painted area. Just can't have it because for us to have a chance and not to look forward necessarily, but even if we do continue on from this series, it only gets harder and harder from here. So, we really can't be having these every other Anthony Davis show up type of game. So 11 points in that game too. It was close until Golden State kind of exploded. They started hitting their threes, and that was pretty much all she wrote. They took out the starters early, let guys get some rest. 1-1, but the key thing I thought from those first two games was we already stole game one, like you said. So congrats, you had the
Called it.
prediction right. You,
I
you
said I
did
would
call
post
it.
it, too, and it was posted.
Yep, yep, you called it. You got that prediction right. So, yeah, I don't know. I thought getting one game out of those two was huge. So it was going to be greedy, wanting 2-0, leaving Golden State. But I'm glad we got the win there. I don't know, Matt. Did you have any notes from that game too?
I think game two, if you look at it from the Warriors' perspective, they found something, I think, because I guess it kind of took place with Looney. So Kevon Looney's in it. I believe he's ill. So they took him out of the starting lineup. They insert Jamichael Green, and he had a big game. I think he had like 15 points, was hitting the open threes. But I noticed they had Anthony Davis guarding him, and every shot Jamichael Green took, it was uncontested. They were basically daring him to shoot it, and to his credit, he knocked it down. And that's something that the Lakers have I think they've adjusted. There's still lapses, over the course of the games that have been played from there that you see, guys are wide open, other than really Curry and Clay getting uncontested 3-point looks. I still think at times you got to live with it, but to do it often, that's not a, a recipe for success. And in game two, it was a lot of that too. And, I will say for the Lakers perspective, they just couldn't figure out, to your credit, the zone. And they moved Draymond Green onto Anthony Davis, and he struggled. Draymond is a very tenacious defender. Obviously, he's a defensive player the year before, all NBA caliber defensive guy. So he knows what he's doing. And he was being very physical with AD. And I thought he was pushing AD out of the paint. Like if you notice where AD was catching the ball in game one, deep in the paint, was able to get anything he wants against Looney. But in game two, it was a lot of catching it at the elbow. Oh, he's catching at the top of the key, and then he's gonna have to make a dribble move. Like that's not what you want AD doing. You want AD living in the paint and just consuming everything, whether it's paint touches, rebounds. That's what you want AD to live in the paint, and he was not. So great job by Golden State and Steve Kerr adjusting to that in game two. But I thought the key, and as games three and four kind of played out, with the blowout, you get a chance to empty your bench, see what you have in some guys, maybe to steal some minutes. And, maybe in about 5 minutes from now, we'll talk about a guy on the Lakers that kind of, took advantage of garbage time. So it was a kind of a win for the Lakers if you see it, you know, 2 games from now, that they found the secret weapon, or I should say, rediscovered a secret weapon that they had on the bench and really implemented him going forward. So I think that was huge for the Lakers in game two. But yeah, you don't want to be too greedy, but they did what they had to do. They got a split and they go back home, and you got to defend home court. So at the end of the day, they did what they had to do, even in a game two demolition by the Warriors.
Yeah, so sorry, I got a little distracted there. But game three, right? Move on to that game. I thought, I figured AD was gonna come out firing, right? And that's exactly what he did. He was aggressive. We needed it. First game in on home court. But D'Lo got hot early on, and we kind of just
It's my
carried
guy.
that lead, right? We carried that. That's your guy. That was he's been he was your key to the series for the Lakers having success. And I don't know. In that game three, it just seemed like they had figured out how to kind of contain Steph a little bit. So that game two, right? Anthony Davis, they were putting Anthony Davis in the pick and roll because I think they wanted to bring him out of the paint, and that's what
Uh,
it kind of sounded like,
mm-hmm.
right? That they were talking about. They want to run AD in the pick and roll, the high pick and roll, so that he's forced to come out to the perimeter, right? So that game two, he didn't want to leave the paint. He still wanted to protect. He was dropping everything on Steph, and that's when Steph was just bombing. Game three, I thought they did a pretty good adjustment, the Lakers at least, where AD was coming out on the screen, but he wasn't just immediately dropping off the switch. He would stay either to contest the shot or kind of wait long enough to switch back and have someone up in Steph's face. So I thought that was a really good adjustment by the Lakers. And still once again, like, it was kind of just great overall team defense in that game three, right? Held the Lakers to under 100 points. And if you can do that in the playoffs, I think we'll be pretty good, moving
Especially to a
forward.
Warriors team. You
Yeah.
hold the Warriors to under 100.
Hmm.
That's saying something.
Yep. So, I mean, it was kind of a mix though, because I thought Golden State early had a couple good looks. They just couldn't, really knock down their threes. Let me check. They went 13 of 44 from three, so under 30%. You do that against a team that shoots as many threes as they do. I mean, you're gonna have some success there, and held Steph and Clay in check too. Only 15 points in that game three. I thought that was a big one, and Lakers were able to kind of ride out that momentum and let some other guys get some big minutes. Like you have here, Lonnie Walker played in that game three. He had a pretty good game. Late. I mean, kind of the subs were out anyway, right? But uh, I think he showed a little bit of something. And Lonnie Walker, well, we'll get to him right now. So game 4, right? Now it's the Lonnie Walker game. Because I mean, absolutely took over down the stretch there. But starting off the game, I thought Golden State was running a really unselfish style of basketball. I think so this is gonna be like it's almost like Darvin Ham slash LeBron against Steve Kerr and his coaching staff, right? Like, how are
And
they gonna
Draymond,
attack?
right? The chess pieces.
How are they gonna attack what the Lakers threw at them in Game 3, right? So now AD comes, is switching and staying on Steph high. So Steph stopped looking to score off that high pick and roll. So early, he's getting the ball out to guys like Gary Payton. He found, DiVincenzo a couple times for easy buckets. So I thought that was a really good adjustment because the Lakers didn't weren't able to pick up on that early, and that's why Steph had what 7 assists or something in the first quarter alone. So I thought that was a really good adjustment from the Warriors side. But at the same time, the Lakers, we were keeping pace. I thought once again, early on, AD was aggressive, which is what he needed to be. He was taking advantage of his size, and really he was kind of bailing us out on a couple of those possessions because D'Angelo was just cold early. It was kind of him and
He was
LeBron.
cold the whole game.
Oh, okay, well, cold the whole game, yeah. Uh, yeah, cold the whole game. So he was really important, I think, for keeping us you know, close in that first half. So it was like you had texted me during the game. It already had a feel by what halftime that, oh man, neither team is gonna run away. Both sides have made adjustments. They kind of know what, by now it's game 4, right? We kind of know how the offenses are gonna run, how the defenses are gonna adjust. Now it just comes down to who's gonna knock down the shots, right? Who's gonna knock down the shots, who's gonna take care of the basketball, and who's gonna take advantage of their moment. And it was a close second half. Lakers went on, or the Warriors, excuse me, went on a run early in that third quarter. I was like, oh man, they stretched it all the way to 10. What in the
That's the
middle of the
third
third
quarter
quarter,
Warriors right there. Yep.
and so I got nervous. Luckily though, we were able to get hot. In the second half of the third quarter, cut the lead back down, and then the fourth quarter was the Lonnie Walker experience. 15 points in the fourth quarter alone, right? He scored all his points in the fourth quarter down the stretch. But let's get into that, fourth quarter, because I thought it was probably the most decisive fourth quarter, other than you could say maybe game 1, right? But this one, it was kind of each team was just trading haymakers. Like, no one really pulled away until the very end. And so, first of all, the Lonnie Walker play by Darvin Ham. So obviously I like Rui, right? But I don't think this series, provides a lot of good matches for him defensively. Because he can stay with a lot of bigs, right? I think he's big enough and he moves well. But against a team like Golden State with Jordan Poole, Steph,
They
even
got all guards on the
yeah,
floor.
DiVincenzo, they're just quicker than Rui laterally, right? So I think it's harder for him on the defensive side if Draymond is going to be matched up with Anthony Davis, and LeBron is going to be matched up with, say, Wiggins if he's out on the court, right? That kind of leaves Rui in a tough spot. I've said Schroeder and Vanderbilt are kind of even Austin Reeves at times are going to be the Steph guys. Um, so we really needed someone else like to match, Clay, Jordan Poole, guys like that. And so I early in the playoffs, we were rolling with Malik Beasley and Troy Brown, but they just, they do play hard defensively. I don't knock their effort at all, right? But it's just offensively, sometimes it was tough because they're out there to shoot threes. And when it's your job to hit threes on offense and you're not doing that, kind of stifles the offense a little bit, right? But I was really high on Lonnie Walker earlier in the year. I thought, it was good to see him play um in that game 3 because it kind of showed his athleticism. Because that's the thing about Lonnie Walker. He's like one of those guys. Um,
He's just a
like a
freak athlete.
like a Zach
Yeah.
Levine. Like really, if we're talking how he moves on the basketball court, like he reminds me of Zach Levine. Like easy, like he jumps so effortlessly, he can move so effortlessly. Just a pure natural athlete, right? We all know the viral clip of him in when he was in San Antonio, right? He goes up for the dunk, and he tries to lay it up or whatever. But like he's a flyer. That's what he is. And he's practiced and refined his offensive game. And we really saw that, down the stretch because the Lakers game plan down the stretch, and I think it is and will be the game plan moving forward, is whoever has Steph, right? We're
You
gonna
attack,
attack Steph
attack,
in the pick
attack.
and roll, no matter who's on him. And so, they tried to hide Steph against Lonnie Walker, and he just took advantage of it, right? He's hitting runners, he's hitting pull-ups, um, mid-range. He was really doing it all. And his shot, it he has a nice looking jump shot too now. I don't know if it was always like that in San Antonio. I'm not sure.
No.
But but I mean
That was a development.
his jump shot, it looks effortless now. And he hit the big shots when it counted. He hit free throws. And that I mean, ultimately he was the difference because he scored 15 points in the fourth quarter. He was the one that kind of took over that game late. We also got contributions from Austin Reeves here and there, right? He also had a really good game as well. But um, yeah, I think he is like the eighth man. I think the Lakers and the coaching staff had been looking for that eighth guy that they could really rely on, to play. So I think Lonnie has definitely solidified himself in that role. I would expect to see a lot of Lonnie Walker moving forward in this series and hopefully the next series that we do move on. And yeah, I'm excited because I liked what I saw out of Lonnie, and I don't know. I think he's gonna be big for us moving forward.
Oh, yeah, for sure. So shout out to the San Antonio Spurs for contributing to this playoff run. My ex favorite team, I guess, in the NBA. No longer, but at least there was some moment for the Spurs. But you talked about Lonnie Walker. Obviously, he was the main story of this game, but I'm still gonna talk about, from my perspective, Anthony Davis and LeBron. So I'll start with AD. So obviously, game 4 is an even number game. There's been some kind of graph showing AD's trend that just goes up and down and up and down. And it seems like in the odd number games, he plays really well. And in the even number games, he decides to take the night off. Well, I would say, I don't know how you feel, but I would say for game 4, I like the effort. I thought the effort was there. Really, that's all you want from AD. You just want him to be engaged, moving around the court, and really impacting the game. And especially in the first half, he doesn't play well like that. You guys get blown out of the window or blown out of the crib. He kept you in the game. He was aggressive, getting the ball in the paint, which was really good. But he finished with 19 points, I think, at the half. And then the second half was a little different. Had 4 points, but he took 4 shots. Now I know people are gonna say, "Oh, but AD, he has to be more aggressive. He needs to demand the ball." But the way that I looked at it was that was more the transition to LeBron in a way. So kind of this series, it seems like LeBron is really picking and choosing when he wants to take over, demand the offense through him. And game 3, right? He didn't take a shot for the whole first quarter. I don't think you're ever going to see that ever again. But second half of this game, I saw a lot of LeBron really initiating the offense, especially late in the fourth quarter. You could really see LeBron picking the matchups, especially with Steph Curry. And I was telling myself, screaming at the TV, take him. You get the switch, like take Steph Curry in the post. And there was times where I thought LeBron was a little too passive and it was a little frustrating. But that's my argument for AD not getting a lot of shots. LeBron said, my turn. You did your job. You kept us in the game in the first half when, we were kind of all a little sluggish. But guys like Austin Reeves finally had a good game in this series. He was huge. Obviously, Lonnie Walker, and then LeBron in the fourth. So AD did what he had to do. And down the stretch, I even texted you this. AD made, you could say, the play of the game. The stop on Steph, I should say two stops on Steph on that last possession, almost Kevin Love esque of the 2016 finals. Steph Curry versus a big one on one. You know exactly what he wants to do. He's gonna shoot the three. He's gonna dance. He's gonna get you to bite, and he's gonna shoot the three. Now Steph, the first time, AD, kind of got on his heels a little bit, but he's got that huge wingspan, so he can contest a shot even when he's beat. And he did that. Draymond gets the rebound. First off, I don't know why Draymond didn't look at the rim because he had Schroeder on him. He literally just could have just laid it right up. But Draymond just gets it right back out to Steph, and then it's another Kevin Love defensive shutdown on Steph in a way. So Anthony Davis, I commend the defensive intensity in that game because he showed why he can guard 1 through 5 in the game. So I commend AD. It was a 23-point game, but I felt his presence there, especially in the first half. So it was good for him to show up. And LeBron, on the other hand, I know he's 38 years old, but to me, he's the GOAT. And I still expect him to do GOAT things. And there are times in the game where it still frustrates me because LeBron is just a physical specimen. And when he has guys on him that are smaller than him, I'm telling myself, LeBron, I know you're tired. I know you're old. I get it. But I'm not saying to, drive the basketball every time, but gotta work in the post more. I think that's how aging superstars really elevate their game late in their career. Look at Kobe, you look at Michael Jordan, relied on athleticism early on, and then as they got older, they developed that post game. But LeBron is a little different because he has the size. So I want to see LeBron going more in the post. And I thought, when he was aggressive in the post, it's like it's still unstoppable. Nobody can guard him without fouling. In the beginning of the game, he had a little nice sky hook. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah, I
It was
saw
pretty
that.
sweet. Yeah, I thought, whoa, I didn't see that one, but it was very definitive. Like he knew he was gonna get to the basket and score. So LeBron really just needs to work more in the post because the 3-point shot, it's not there.
Nine threes is a lot.
He's gotta, yeah. And I'm not saying he needs to shoot zero threes because you're still, you need the 3-point shot to respect the defense. And he has to shoot that. But to shoot 2 for 9 and pass up to me a lot of opportunities in the paint is what's a little frustrating to me. I still want to see LeBron be a little more aggressive, but he did enough. He made the free throws down the stretch, which was huge. So I know Skip Bayless can't grill him on that because he went to the line and he knocked him down with confidence. So yeah, I think this was a very, very good game, especially for AD. But LeBron, I'm still kind of waiting to see that vintage LeBron moment. So I don't know, maybe game 5, game 6, if it goes that far. I hope to see LeBron put a stamp on this series going forward.
All right. Yeah, I think it's looking good for us. Honestly, it's gonna be tough to win game 5 at
They're going to be
you
desperate, so
know
yeah, you got to match their
at
intensity.
Golden State. I think we can get it off, but I don't know. I think we're due for a Clay or Steph nuclear explosion. Just hitting ridiculous shots. So I think Lakers in 6. I'm hoping that happens, and I don't know. I think it's doable, and I think we go on to the Western Conference Finals. Um, who they will be facing. I don't know. So let's move on. Move on to that. I still am gonna stick with Phoenix in that series because of what we have seen the past really 2 games, right? So Denver jumps out to the 2-0 lead, but Phoenix on their home court battled back due to in part of one Mr. Devin Booker who is going absolutely nuclear in these playoffs. I mean, he's just shooting it at a ridiculous clip. He has everything going for him right now. Like he looks the past 2 games, he really looks like he has total command of the offense without Chris Paul playing, mind you. And that's what I was worried about, right? I talked about last week. No Chris Paul. How are we gonna get everyone facilitated? How are we gonna get guys involved? Uh, Devin Booker said, you know what? I'll do you one better. I'll be an even better point slash combo, whatever shooting guard than Chris Paul, and I'll handle and run the offense every time. And lo and behold, it's been working for them. We still okay. Well, Kevin Durant had 36 last game, but it's crazy to think like, oh, 36 from Kevin Durant. That's not a crazy explosion, right?
He wasn't as efficient in some of the games, that's why. But
Yeah,
this last game he was.
yeah. So he got to the line a lot, right? I think they were doing a better job of that. But really, I mean, Devin Booker has just been playing out of his mind. Just, I mean, really the whole playoffs. Everyone was giving him a little bit of trouble. Oh, it's the who are you really playing? Like you're playing you're playing the Clippers who are all banged up, right? So um I mean, not really any excuses now. This is a fully loaded Denver roster who is, has guys like KCP, has guys like Aaron Gordon that are can play really good perimeter defense, and Devin Booker's just getting to his spots with ease, and he looks like the best player, offensive player in the playoffs right now. That's even including playoff Jimmy, who can be borderline unstoppable. But offensively, I don't know, Matt. Right now, Devin Booker looks just insane. And his emergence has finally helped open up that offense, I think. So in those first 2 games, I thought they did a good job, right, shutting down Kevin Durant. But Landry Shamet in that game 4 had a really big fourth quarter because they have to double book now, and you can't double book and leave KD alone, right? So someone's gonna be the open man. I think that was a good adjustment by is it Monty Williams, right?
Monty
He's the
Williams. Yeah.
yeah. I thought Monty Williams did a good adjustment by putting more shooters on the floor, kind of giving space for that offense. And I thought that was kind of a big um that was a big adjustment for them because they still can't stop Jokic on the other side. So you're gonna have to outshoot this Denver team at this point, right? And but I don't know. I thought that was a really, really good adjustment. It's gonna be interesting to see how Denver reacts now. Mike Malone on the other side. But yeah, Devin Booker, man. I mean, not much else to say for Phoenix, other than yeah, Devin Booker is just going insane. And I mean, I gotta say on the other hand though, Jokic had 51 in a losing effort. Like you do I'll never forget the first time I saw the Jokic Murray high pick and roll against
Yeah, against
Portland.
the Blazers.
Against Portland, that absolutely would shred us every single time. And to this day, they're still doing it, and it's still one of the best 2-man games in the league. Other than maybe the Devin Booker, Kevin Durant 2-man game right now. That thing is just absolutely unstoppable. Like late in games, I don't know how you defend it because they have such good synergy as well. It's just unreal. But I don't know, Matt. I think the series is going 7. I really do, and something still tells me though, with how Devin Booker is playing, I think he stalled enough for KD to get his rhythm back. And I think Devin Booker is due for one off game. He's gonna have one bad game the rest of the series. And that's the game that KD is gonna step up and kind of carry them. So I'm gonna go Phoenix in 7 the rest of the series, sticking with my pick. But it's really just I think they figured out their offense, and I don't know how Denver's gonna adjust. I don't think there is an answer unless they just both have an off night, which I don't think is going to happen.
Well, let me go back a little bit. So I'll talk about this. I just thought of this. That's why. So you mentioned the Blazers series, and how do we defend the high pick and roll? In that, I'll take a bit trip down memory lane. We couldn't guard the high pick and roll because, and I would say this for any team. If you have an unathletic center, you're screwed. I don't care how good your guard is at defense. You cannot guard that high pick and roll without an athletic center. Portland does not have an athletic center. I'll say that. That's why we got killed, and they got whatever they wanted. On the other hand, we take it to this series. I would say DeAndre Ayton is a little more mobile, skilled, athletically gifted than the guy we had, or I should say we still have, unfortunately, in Yusuf Nurkic. Now, the thing with Ayton has always been his effort. And I really am starting to see it more and more in this series that he really, it's like a worse AD in a way. Like it's pretty bad. So I don't know if you probably saw this, right? The viral clip of Jokic kind of tipping the ball to himself. KD's trying to grapple it, and Aiton's just standing underneath the basket saying,
Watching
"What
it
am I
happen.
supposed to? What am I supposed to do? Get your butt in the paint and play defense. You're 7-1." Jokic, it's not like Jokic is an athletic, big who's gonna poster you and
Well,
jump.
he is
No,
strong though. I
he's
think we've seen
strong.
that. Aiton cannot he cannot stop Jokic from backing down in the post. So
Yeah, yeah.
that's the one thing. That's the one thing I'll
I
say.
don't think you can. Yeah, you can't do that. But Aiton is long to me. He's 7-1. He's long. You're telling me he can't contest shots better? Now, I think, yeah, you don't stop Murray and Jokic in the pick and roll, but I still think you can at least contest the shot. And if they make it, well, you just live with it. And I truly don't see like a strong contest from Aiton, whether he gets switched out onto Jamal or he stays on Jokic. It's almost too easy for Jokic. Now, Monty Williams, I think you just gotta get the ball out of hands out of Jokic. Don't let him go 1-on-1. He kind of fell for it in the finals when they played the Bucks and they put Aiton on Giannis 1-on-1 and just said, try stop Giannis. You just gotta stop him 1-on-1. That's just the recipe for disaster, as we saw. So if I'm Phoenix, I'm definitely double teaming Jokic. And if guys like KCP, even Aaron Gordon, Michael Porter, if they hit the shots, well, that so be it. That's just how it's got to be. But Jokic is you got to make him uncomfortable. You got to make him more uncomfortable and contest shots in the pick and roll. But from Denver's perspective, it's it's I would say scary in the sense where it seems like Phoenix is playing faster now. Like they're running and gunning with Booker. Shamit's getting a little more playing time, so obviously he stretches the floor a little bit. But I don't know, man. Can Am I crazy to say that the CP3 injury is helping the Suns right now in this series?
Maybe one of
Because
those blessings in disguise.
with Chris Paul as a Hall of Fame point guard, but he is on the older side, and he's not the guy anymore that's gonna play with pace and run and gun. He wants to slow you down, play in the half court. He's gonna orchestrate the offense, and he's very good at that. But if you run with pace, I think that's an advantage for Phoenix because Jokic is not that's his weakness. He's not a quick lateral guy. You just keep him running back and forth, he's gonna wear out. And you saw that. We can take a trip down memory lane again with the Blazers. That 4 overtime game, Jokic ran out of gas because Dame
The
and
free
CJ were just,
throws.
yeah,
I
but
remember.
tired legs.
Tired
That
legs.
that's how you get fatigued. Dame and CJ were just running up and down the court. Rodney Hood was jacking up threes in transition. Like they're just running. And I think I see a little more pace with Phoenix. So I think it was a little blessing in disguise. I think Chris Paul is out for game 5. So to be honest, I think Phoenix could win this game or win this series in 6. I think they found something a little bit. If Booker keeps this up, I think they're gonna win. I really do, because KD is finding his groove now, and if he does that, then there's no stopping him. No one can guard him. So I don't know. I think Phoenix has found something a little bit thanks to an injury, which is unfortunate. But yeah,
I think
maybe
I think
I
it'll
think
be
Phoenix is
interesting.
fine. They're
I
finding
think
their
it
stride.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting when Chris Paul does come back to see if he is going to be willing to continue to let Devin Booker kind of run and orchestrate the offense. Because I mean, campaign is in, right? But he's not running the offense,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. It'll definitely be interesting because the offense seems like it's flowing a lot better than it did those first two games. And is Chris Paul going to be willing to kind of say, "All right, let's go, Devin. You're the guy now. You run the point. I'll be off ball." Which I mean, we've never seen Chris Paul play off the ball before in his entire career. But is he going to be willing to just be a guy that kind of sits in a corner or on the wing and hits a big three every now and then? I think that would be really interesting to see. But I don't know. I still like Phoenix. Like you said, you have them in 6. I'll take them in 7. And yeah, I'm hoping we get to see KD versus LeBron, you know, Western Conference Finals. I'll be watching it from Japan. So it'll be fun. Um yeah.
Hey, then that'll be our two teams that we said in the West, because me, you, and Logan are all out in the East. So it's the battle of the West teams for us.
Hmm.
And either you or Logan, one of you guys are going down. So at least the Lakers are kind of holding their own right now. So hopefully I'm in good spirits in next week's recording.
Yeah. Well, maybe you can talk to Logan about that next week since I'll be gone. But you know what? Why don't we take a break here really fast. Yeah, we'll get to the break right now, and when we get back, we'll talk about the Eastern Conference series. So stick around. Okay, so let's get to the other side, the Eastern Conference. Both these series also we got one at 2-2, one at 3-1. Let's get to the 2-2 series first. So Celtics and 76ers kind of been a back and forth contest the whole way. I think a lot more evenly matched than some people. Some people were really high on Boston in this series. Kind of thought they would kind of run away with it, but you know, uh, to the Sixers' credit, they are battling back and kind of due to James Harden. Who would have thought? But let's get to let's go in order of the games first. So, game two, uh, after Philadelphia steals game one off the first James Harden game, uh, Embiid comes back, but Boston, to their credit, took him away. Did not let him be a factor at all in that game, and really shut him down. I don't know. Maybe he came back too early. That's a question. Um, I think only the Sixers really know. Were they forcing him a little bit to come back? But regardless, Celtics did a good job. Got that game two win, and was really able to capitalize on maybe little bit nicked up Joel Embiid there. I'll say
He
so.
was definitely a little rusty. He hasn't been on the court for a few weeks, so
Hmm.
he was not in basketball condition. Seeing him run up and down the floor.
Yep. And then that game three, Boston kind of took over. We didn't get to see a whole lot of offense from the Sixers. Once again, James Harden kind of, he for the we're talking about the guys that have been up and down. James Harden, after that huge game one, game two and three, kind of quiet. Joel poured in 30 of his own, but didn't get a lot of help. Even Tyrese Maxey, who I'm pretty high on, I think we're both pretty high on him as a player. We saw him kind of taking steps this year. Only had 13 points in that game three, so not a lot of help for Joel on that side. Well, on the flip side, the Tatum Brown duel, it's just pretty killer. If both those guys are going strong, good luck. Especially if all their role players are great. Al Horford, Marcus Smart, Derek White, and Malcolm Brogdon. That's a solid team right there. So Al Horford obviously holding it down as best as he can against Joel Embiid, but Joel's gonna get his points when he's healthy. So I don't know. That game three to me was kind of a lack of support from the rest of the Sixers. Um, not including Joel Embiid, but game four I thought was a must win, and this was a great game.
Oh yeah.
We got an overtime game in the playoffs. Those are always really fun to see, right? So we'll get to that game four. That turned into the James Harden game. That turned into the most clutch James Harden game, actually, that I've seen him go out and have, especially in the playoffs. Because down the stretch, for every punch that Boston would throw, James Harden had a counter for it, right to the very end. Ended with 42 points, um, almost a triple double. If we're being honest, he kind of took over the game for the Sixers there late, and he hit the big shot in the corner to you know win them the game. So to me, this is what I think the rest of the series is going to look like. Now both sides have kind of figured out how they're going to play offensively, and so I don't know, Matt. I think this one's going to go seven now. I'm kind of interested to see
I think so
how it
too.
goes from here, but Jason Tatum kind of had an off game for a little bit. Um, Picked it up towards the end. Couple interesting calls I thought in this one with how they were calling the game. Doc was really upset by the non-call on Jason Tatum's kind of forearm
Push off. That was
push
a
off.
foul.
I
Offensive
also
foul,
agree. I
clearly.
agree. Definitely an offensive foul, especially how the game was being played. Up until that or officiated, I should say. They were blowing the whistle. They were definitely calling a decent amount of fouls in that game. And so when I saw that, it's funny because, I hate to reward flopping. I really do. And I applaud Tyrese Maxey for not flopping in that situation. Like playing defense, not risking not getting the call, I guess. Not risking, not getting the offensive foul call uh, after the shove, trying to scramble and get back to contest the shot. But it's like flopping makes it to where you almost have to in those types of situations, right? Because you're not going to recover in time. And so I don't know. To me, that's why it should be called a foul. Because if not, you're just gonna incentivize guys to go be all dramatic, sell calls. And as we saw in the other Eastern Conference series, right, when Josh Hart kind of did a little flop, that led to Jimmy turning his ankle. So if we're, I don't want to see flopping be rewarded. So I think in order to do that, guys play right? Similar to how Tyrese Maxey did. And, you know, blow the whistle because it was a foul. It just didn't look like it because for once, someone didn't flop like to the floor after a little forearm shiver to the chest, right?
Yeah, like
So
Marcus Smart, he's the king of flopping, I
exactly,
think.
exactly. He had a great one in that last game too. I remember like when he sets screens and stuff. So he's just so good at that. I don't really like to see that, but yeah, Jason Tatum, I thought had the chances there, wanted the ball at the end, just couldn't quite answer and hit the big shot. Um, but yeah, James Harden, I don't know, Matt. I slowly but surely, if he starts keeping this up a little bit, he can really change the whole narrative of what we think and know as James Harden as a playoff performer. And it was easy for the Sixers to quit in this game, but props to guys like James Harden, but also PJ Tucker had I think has been huge for the Sixers. Giving them that almost Draymond-esque vibe of the bulldog, right? The defensive bulldog that's going to give you everything he has. But he's also proven himself to be a leader, I think, a vocal leader for this team. You saw him telling Joel Embiid to stay aggressive early,
Hmm.
you know, stuff like that. It's so key, right? Like your guy is Jay Crowder, you know, a guy like that that has that veteran presence. Um, he didn't play at all in that Milwaukee series, right? So, you know, guys like that that can play and give you tough minutes are huge. PJ had the great hustle play, helped them, you know, win that game. So I don't know. I think I was pretty heavy on the Celtics winning this one, but I don't know anymore because I think it's gonna be evenly matched the rest of the way. I might be leaning Sixers in seven. Um I think I can see that happening now. Thanks to Mr. James Harden. So who would have thought? But
You should have stuck with the original pick.
I know I really should have. I was soft, folded.
It's okay. I voted on the Warriors, so hopefully they don't do something crazy, and then I'm gonna look kind of dumb. But we'll cross our fingers that that doesn't happen. But anyway, for this series, for me, I look at it as, Joel Embiid is not healthy at all. You can tell, and that means James Harden has to be the guy. I think you have to run the offense through him. I'm not saying turn into the Houston Rockets of 2018 and just play high pick and roll with Embiid and Harden and just jack up 53s a game, or Harden shooting 40 times a game. No, I don't think that's how you play. But I think Harden should be the guy, definitely being the first option on offense with the injured Joel Embiid. And in game four, I thought it was pretty interesting that late in the fourth, they were trying to go to Embiid, kind of almost force feeding him the ball. But credit to Al Horford, he, for an old dude going up against the MVP of the league, he was holding his own, and he was under Joel's skin a little bit. And that brings you to your point that you said about PJ Tucker, like a veteran guy. He's not going to score a lot, but he plays tough defense. He'll make timely corner threes when he needs to. But he got over and was in Joel's face. And I don't know how many guys would have the balls to do that. You're basically telling the MVP, get your head in the game and be yourself. Like, you need to be better. Like, who does that? Who tells the MVP of the league to be better and get your head in the game? PJ Tucker deserves a lot of credit for that. And I think he has a lot of respect in that locker room. So for him to kind of snap Joel out of that funk that he was in mid fourth quarter was huge, because Joel did make a couple big baskets late in the game and some free throws. So they wouldn't have won that without him kind of snapping out of that. So a total team effort there. But James Harden, I think I would say if he wins this series, we probably should change the narrative on James because of the circumstance of the team. It's not like Joel is going to be the sidekick in this series. If they're going to win this series, I think James has to be the first option scorer. He's going to have to be the dude. And it's unfortunate that Embiid is hurt, but that's just how it is. If James Harden is going to beat the Celtics, I don't know. I think we're going to have to change the narrative on James, because he's shown in this game, this was his best playoff performance ever. And that was after game one, when I was like, okay, this dude made the timely shots. He demanded the ball. He was aggressive. But in this one, to hit the tying shot, to send it to OT, and then hit that game winning three in the corner, that's clutch. That's really all you can say about it. That's clutch. But speaking of that shot, it wasn't like a buzzer beater. So the Celtics had another possession to go. And there's a lot of controversy on this one. Joe Mazzulla had a timeout to use, or a couple maybe, with about maybe 15 seconds, I think. James hit the three. So you got 15 seconds, you're down by one. They don't call a timeout off the made three. And I just thought that last position took way too long, with Smart just kind of nonchalantly dribbling the ball up. Maybe what, 4 or 5 seconds goes off the clock, just standing there. Tatum finally catches the ball, and then the ball rotates around and it finds its way back to Marcus Smart. And he makes the shot. He makes the three, but it was about a second too late.
Too late.
Too late. So I don't know. In that situation, I understand. Okay, maybe I don't mind the no timeout call. I don't think people should grill Joe Mazzulla too much on that. Personally, I would have called a timeout, especially off a made basket, because they're gonna get set anyway. So why not settle everybody down off a made shot and find either just, get Tatum the ball, get Jalen Brown the ball, and get out of the way, or you drop a play. But I would have called a timeout in that case, but I wouldn't grill Joe Mazzulla for not calling one. I would grill the Celtics for how they managed that though, because they were down. So I don't know why they were so nonchalant with their time management, because you always have to account for a missed shot and at least give yourself a chance. You go with about 10 seconds. If you make the shot, great, you have the lead. Now just buckle down and get a stop. But if at least if you miss, you can foul and extend the game and give yourself another chance. So they didn't do that. And I thought that was poorly managed. They managed it like they were tied going in. Worst case, you go into overtime. Best case, you win the game. But they're down. You got to have a more sense of urgency with the clock and start your action earlier. That was the one thing I didn't like with
I
that
agree.
last possession.
Let me make a quick point to that. So what I was thinking when I saw it right after it happened. So first the timeout thing, I'm with you that I don't hate the no timeout call because you want to let your guys, you trust your guys, you've practiced the situation before. Okay, we're not going to call a timeout here. We're going to let us go down the court. We know what set we're going to get to in the half court. Two things that I do wonder. Is it Did he not call the timeout for the reason you said? You kind of want Philly to not be set, but that doesn't make sense because it was off a made shot. Um, so is it so that they're not set, or that's just kind of what we have been rolling with the whole time, so we're comfortable with that? That's fine. If that's what the thinking is, I don't have a problem with it. Um, but Philly was able to get set. But let's go more back to the five guys on the court for the Celtics. Yeah, a little bit more urgency in that situation. If the game was tied, this is a completely different conversation because you want to hold the ball for the last shot. You don't want Philly to get another crack at this, but you're down at this point and you're, taking the ball up the court slowly. And even when you get across half court, it takes you what, a couple seconds to get into your offense. Like, no,
Yeah.
once you cross half court, it's time to go because like you said, off a miss, hey, there's always the chance of a ball caroms off the rim, offensive rebound, get another putback opportunity up, like you said, right? Or miss foul and extend the game a little bit because you're only down what, 1 point at that point, right?
1 point. Yeah.
So if you foul uh early after a miss, it's still only a 3 point game. You're still in it to tie, right? So, like you said, doesn't make sense how they approach that situation. And I was thinking about it after. What were me and you talking about after the Warriors beat the Celtics in that series, right? Late in the game, down the stretch, Marcus Smart was the point guard, and he just didn't really have a grasp of running that offense when it came down to crunch time, right? He was, turning the ball over, um, and there wasn't really any facilitators on the floor to kind of control that offense, control guys, get got someone on the floor telling them, "Hey guys, we gotta go." So they go out and get Malcolm Brogdon, and so I thought that whole thing was going to change, but I don't think Brogdon was on the floor at that point, right? I know he was in foul trouble early, so they pulled him, and they had Marcus Smart, they had Derek White on the court instead of Malcolm Brogdon, and I thought, that's why you bring a guy like Malcolm Brogdon in to be the six man or a point guard in that situation. But it's almost like no one had any sense of urgency. And even like I would expect Al Horford to be yelling, guys, what are we doing? Let's go. Al Horford being the vet that he is, maybe he was. I'd probably have to go back and check, but I was just thinking like, man, the late game time management there was poor. I don't know if that's also maybe on the coaching staff, like not telling them, hey, let's go. We gotta go now. Like, let's go. So just a complete lack of execution there. I thought late game crunch time execution by Boston really cost them there. But I mean, the talent is still there. That was just an interesting way for that series to, or for that game to end in that series.
Yep,
So
I 100% agree with that.
that was my final caveat there in that. Um, okay. Anyway, that'll be interesting. I'll go Sixers in seven. That's gonna be my new pick because of, and we're gonna change the narrative on the beard. The beard will now be known as a clutch player after this series, at least for the moment.
I am
So
cheering for the Sixers in a way. I kind of want to see James Harden do well for once.
yeah, yeah. Um, so we'll see how that one goes. Let's wrap up basketball though. Last series we got to get to Knicks and Heat. Uh, kind of what we expected. A lot of tough hustle plays being made. A lot of good defense. Not a lot of high scoring games,
No.
right? Not at all. But to me, Matt, I don't know. It's the lack of offense from the Knicks. I think Spoelstra and Miami has really done something to figure out how to stop them offensively. I know Jalen Brunson is still carrying his load. He had 32 points tonight. RJ Barrett 24, and Julius Randle, who has not been playing well throughout the series, dropped 20 points today. But I think you're gonna need a little bit more from those guys if that's who you're gonna roll with, and just a little bit more production out of your all stars. Guys like Julius Randle and maybe not Jalen Brunson, but guys like RJ Barrett to really step up. I know he had a good game today, but against this Heat team, you're gonna need guys to step up, especially when you play guys like Jimmy Butler, and the depth that Miami has, I thought really came out, or is showing itself in this series. I mean, Cody Zeller's giving them minutes. A guy I have
Former
been high
Blazer.
on, yeah, a guy I have been high on, Caleb Martin throughout this season, because I had him as a late round fantasy draft pick, and solely because I took him. I know, like, I had been following him the whole year, and he had a good year for Miami. He's still athletic. A lot of people know him for the dunks and all that type of stuff, but he can knock down shots, and he's been a good 3-point shooter for them in this series. I went 2 for 5 today. Had a big dunk today, over two Knicks. Gave them a lot of momentum. But to me, I don't know. It seems like New York is kind of out of it. Julius Randle is saying stuff like they're not, like, they don't want it enough.
They
He's
want it. Maybe
questioning,
they want it more than
maybe they
us.
want it more. Like, I don't know if
What?
that's something he's saying to try to get your team fired up, but you say that in the locker room, right? You don't say that out uh post game in the press conference. And so, to me, I think Miami has figured out the Knicks, and I think this game is done next game. I Even in New York, I
I think
think it's
so.
cooked. Jimmy only had 27 points tonight, right? It's relatively low for him. So, or at least for playoff Jimmy, that's pretty low. But playoff Jimmy had 10 assists, so he's still finding ways to contribute on offense. And yeah, I don't know. Miami is just playing really good basketball right now. But got to give credit to Bam tonight. We kind of been speaking, hey, we need someone to help out Jimmy. Someone's gonna have to step up and help out Jimmy. Whether it's Kyle Lowry, whether it's Bam, whether it's guys like Gabe Vincent, Max Struess. Um, but we saw a good Bam tonight. He was aggressive. Or sorry, not tonight. Oh, no, it was today.
Yeah, tonight.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
play tonight.
He was aggressive. Got to his shots, and I mean, if Bam can give you 20 plus, that's the all-star Bam you need. because what he's gonna give you defensively night in and night out. That's not gonna be a question. But we need that all-star Bam Adebayo to be providing, offense and shouldering some of that from Jimmy, so he doesn't have to go Superman every single game, 40-point games. So I thought that's really good. That's gonna be huge, man, for Miami moving forward if they get consistent offensive production out of Bam. Yeah, I think they can take it all the way to the finals. I don't know. Maybe they're my new pick. They might be the new pick in the East. So I definitely have them, you know, finishing the Knicks next game. Unless Jalen Brunson goes for 50, I think the Knicks are cooked. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with that one there. I think, the only game that the Knicks won was with Jimmy Butler not playing. So
And it was still close. It was a close
yeah,
game.
it was down to the wire too. So I think Miami is the experience is kind of showing a little bit. The Knicks, they're just not ready for the moment, I think. And they went up against the Cavalier team in the first round that had really no experience as well, outside of Donovan Mitchell and Karis LeVert. But they kind of stunk it up even worse. So it was a kind of a easy win for the Knicks in that series. But I would be a little concerned, just not even for the game. Actually, yeah, we can talk about the game too. But Julius Randle for an All-Star, it just does not seem like he's having like impactful points. You look at his stats. He was 8 of 13. That's an efficient shooting night. 1 for 4 from three. Could have been better. But 8 for 13. If you look at the stats, that's very efficient. But watching the game, it just doesn't seem like his points were just like taking the soul out of Miami, Like it wasn't like he was taking over the game, kind of. It doesn't have that effect. And for an all-star caliber player, and who is one of the veterans on this team, you you got to be better. And I know Shaq, Charles Barkley, they talk about this on Inside the NBA. They're saying if you average, say, 25 points, and I think Randall averages about 26 in the playoffs, you should be averaging higher than your regular season scoring average because the intensity, the adrenaline, and you're conserving in the regular season. But this is the playoffs. You ele- Stars elevate their game in the playoffs. So Julius Randle, you can't be averaging 20 points a game. I think he needs to be maybe temper the expectations a little bit, but 25 to 30 points a game consistently. If they're going to have a shot at extending this series, he has to be much more dominant and imposing, especially inside. I hate when Julius Randle shoots outside. He's not the greatest 3-point shooter. Like, get your butt in the paint. But Brunson needs help. He needs a lot of help in this case. But call me crazy, but do you think, I don't know, maybe the Knicks should play Derrick Rose? He is on the team.
But they got to do something. I don't know.
Just
Something's got to
something.
change.
You're desperate now. You're facing elimination and you're struggling to score. So you can't hurt at this point. So why not use Derrick Rose to spell Brunson for 5-10 minutes a game? He might be able to give you a burst, and he's definitely going to hype the crowd up, especially at home. So play to that excitement. Let's see Derrick Rose a little bit. If I'm Thibodeau, that was his guy too. So I don't know why he's in the doghouse right now as a postseason vet. But Miami, I think the key is, like we touched on it, Bam. If Bam gives you 20, they're gonna control this series, I think. And they should win in 5 or 6 for sure. But Kyle Lowry is a very underrated player right now. He's coming off the bench, a longtime starter and champ with the Toronto Raptors, but his presence is definitely being felt because he's the closing point guard. He's not starting the games. Jimmy's kind of, taking that over, but Kyle Lowry as the closing guard off the bench really allows, I think, Jimmy to kind of almost rest a little bit because you don't have to put everything on his shoulders. Lowry knows how to run an offense. He's won a championship. and he's just going to make winning plays. He's PJ Tucker-esque in a way where he's kind of a bulldog type of player, but he can shoot and he can score still at a consistently efficient level. So I think Miami just has a little too much in this series. And I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised Jimmy Butler scores 40 next game. I really wouldn't, to close it out. And he's
Yep.
gonna
In
tell
Madison
the
Square
world that
Garden.
he's in the mecca of basketball. He's gonna put the Knicks away. It would not shock me at all.
Yep, that would not shock me either. Yeah. I will say
You might get what you want though. If the Heat keep winning, you wanted a Lakers Heat finals
yeah, but
or
I
Suns
wanted
Suns Heat
I
because
need them to go a little bit longer. I think I want well, hopefully the next series goes 7. And like selfishly, if the Lakers close out Golden State and doesn't matter who they play, Denver or Phoenix, it's gonna be a tough series. So to even get to the finals from there is gonna be hard. But let's say miraculously they do make it. I want that other team to be as tired as possible because the Lakers are gonna be tired. Trust me, LeBron's already exhausted. So they need to go get their rest. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's a lot of basketball talk, Matt. Why don't we wrap up our sports talk with a little bit of baseball? Oh, actually, you know what? Sorry, before baseball, Bronny. Bronny's going to USC. Good for USC. They got all the dudes there. They got Bronny, they got Caleb Williams. I guess USC is just on the come up now because yeah, football games gonna be packed, and just Bronny alone, he's gonna sell out like the
every
arena.
game.
If he plays, like he might not even need to start that his freshman year, but if he does start and if he does play that freshman year, man, they're gonna be like he's almost as big as like if Lamelo. Remember when Lamelo was playing high school basketball? Like if Lamelo played college basketball, he would be the hands down the biggest name in college basketball. So Bronny's just gonna have a great pull. Good for him. He gets to stay home, next to Pops, and maybe it's in the cards that he goes to the Lakers. I don't know. It could definitely be possible. So we'll
Well,
wait
it's
a couple
possible.
years. Wait a couple years for that.
He's a lottery pick at this point. They said he's after 1 year he could potentially be a lottery pick, which would be insane.
I think he's gonna be a mid to late round, like
Late first
late
round.
first round pick. I could see that happening,
Yeah,
and the name alone is gonna help him out. So, if we're being honest,
yeah.
it's gonna help a little bit.
That was a perfect decision for him. He gets to stay home. Dad plays in the crib 10, 15 minutes down the street.
And
You get to train.
he gets all the
And
NIL money by being in LA,
I
right?
don't think he needs money. That family don't need more money, but
Well, he gets his own money now. He can get his
true.
own money. It ain't dad's money anymore. It's his money. Um, but yeah, good for Bronny. I think that's really good for USC basketball as well, obviously. So good job there. Okay, baseball, Matt. Why don't we get to it? How you feeling about the Yankees? How are we feeling?
Well, since we last talked, not so much has changed. Still in last. We're 10 games back of the Rays. We played them over the weekend and we should have won the series. And then we were up by 6 in the last game with Garrett Cole on the mound, and somehow we lose that game. Just the situational hitting is atrocious. It's bad. If winning teams, and the Rays did this, if you have runners in scoring position, second and third, 1 out, runner on third, less than 2 outs, you got to score them. I don't care. I don't care who's batting. I'm not telling you to get a hit. Just have a productive at bat. And the Yankees, they don't have productive at bats, and that's why they're losing these games. I'll give Garrett Cole a pass because this was his first bad start of the year. He's been outstanding this year, so I'll give him a mulligan. But offensively, even with the 6 runs, you guys still left way too many guys on base. And that would have changed the whole narrative of how I felt going into this pod week. If we won the series against the Guardians earlier in the week, we could have swept them, but we did beat the Guardians, and we should have beat the Rays. So that would have been a back-to-back series wins. Going into Oakland now, we did win today, thank goodness. But you got to sweep Oakland. I don't care. We're sweeping Oakland, and then you got to play Tampa again. So they do have a shot if they can take, I would say, a sweep of Oakland, and then if you somehow can win 3 out of 4 at home against the Rays, maybe I'll have a little less concern next week. But I am a little concerned at this point. But at least on the bright side, my captain is coming back Tuesday. So that's tomorrow. We're recording on Monday, but Aaron Judge is back. I hope they DFA Aaron Hicks just for mental sanity
Hey, he
around the
hit a
Yankee
home run today
community.
though, so he's sticking around now.
You're right. He hit a home run, so he's on the team for the rest of the year. That's just kind of how the Yankees go, but they just seem to drop and cut the wrong guys. But yeah, I mean, Judge comes back, Bader's back. He's been hitting the ball really well since he's been back. Stanton comes back hopefully end of the month in time for me to see him in person. But if we can get healthy, it'll be a lot better. But it just sucks. I'm 10 games back in May. That's way too big of a deficit right now. So I'm having a hard time right now in May, believe it or not. At least your team's in first.
Yeah, so we'll get over to my team. Dodgers, I'll keep it short. Dodgers playing pretty well. I mean, can't really complain. Up until this last game, we played today. We got smacked around by the Brewers, but we had won. Let's go to five. So we had won 8 of the past 9. We beat San Diego. Took the series from them after they
That was
were
a good
talking
win.
all this stuff. Manny
They
Machado's
always
gonna
do
re-
that.
Manny Machado's gonna rest just to play the Dodgers. Okay, fine. They're showing a crying Kershaw on the board after they beat us the first game. Um, but I gotta say, the third game that we took off them was what I thought gonna be huge for the Dodgers going forward. That's 2 out hitting. I'll always talk about 2 out hitting because of how they played in the bubble, quote unquote bubble, in that World Series run. We had the best 2 out hitting with runners in scoring position in the whole league, and that really propelled our offense going forward. Um, but Mookie, man, if that's the clutch Mookie I need to see more often. And he has been picking it up recently, but for him to hit a solo shot off Josh Hader in San Diego, two
With
outs,
2 outs.
2 outs. Yeah, that's the stuff that I love to see because you could tell that deflated the Padres badly. And 10th inning, it's the rookies. We have the homegrown talent to go along with the big signings, unlike San Diego. They got Tatis, right? But he didn't even start in their farm system, if I'm uh remembering correctly. So, all of our, Outman, Bush, we have these guys are like homegrown guys contributing to our team. And it's just perfect because I think, well, not so much in baseball as a sport like football where you need your rookies to produce, on that salary cap number, but it's just good to see guys, young guys, stepping up in big situations, picking up the slack. Freddie went 0 for 5 in that game, and we still won 5-2. Um, that's what this team can do moving forward. It's just the pitching. If the pitching gets a little bit better, I think Evan Phillips might be the closer now. He has good stuff.
He
I wouldn't
should
mind
be.
that. I wouldn't mind that at all going forward. I really like what I see out of him. So yeah, feeling good. I mean, we won 8 out of 9. Can't really complain. Uh, had 2 sweeps in a row. Offense is coming on. That Phillies series, they scored 10 or double-digit runs, in all 3 games. So man, the offense is grooving, and yeah, feeling good. First place in the West. Can't really complain. Just hope Arizona starts losing. That's all I can do right now. So yeah, I'm lucky. I'm lucky to not be
Yeah,
in the
you
AL
are.
East. I will definitely agree with that. Luckily, not to be in the AL East. So, um, all right. Other than that, Matt, I think that's a good pod. why don't you take us home with our sports fact?
All right, sports fact of the day for May 8th, our record date. So let's take it to 2010. The last piece of the old Yankee Stadium was fell that day in the Bronx. That was the end of the 2-year demolition of the old Yankee Stadium, which has a lot of memories and a lot of World Series wins in that stadium with a lot of ghosts. But we moved over right across the street to New Yankee Stadium, and that's where the Yankees are playing to this day. So a pretty sad day, I would say, in Yankee history. Kind of ironic that the Yankees are in last place, so we should say a sad Yankee fact for this one. But yeah, a sad sports fact for me and a sad Yankee fanatic here.
It's okay, man. It's like I said, it's still not over. It's still only May, so hang in there. Although, yeah, the Yankees need to start picking it up a little bit more. But
10 games back, 10 games, that's a little too much right now.
yeah, I agree. Um, all right. Well, this will be our last pod together for a little bit. Hold it down the next couple weeks.
Will do.
I'll eat very good in Japan next week.
And
So
drink. Eat and drink.
eat and drink. Yeah, eat and drink good. I will definitely take a lot of pictures, send you some stuff while I'm up there, bring you back something. So yeah, sounds good.
All
Other than
right.
that,
Have a good trip, bud.
thanks. But yeah, everyone, be good to Matt next week when he's uh hosting it solo. So yeah. All right. Well, thanks everyone for listening as usual. Stay safe. Have a good week, and Matt, we'll see you guys next week.